Okay. Okay. What was the beginning part? Because I will close what I'm looking at. Let's go from the
So,
start. Yeah.
yeah. So, my thought process is the whole thing with, and we haven't finished 7.5, so this is just going based off what we know up to the trial.
And a bunch of
But,
me knowing all the history of the other games.
yeah, and you knowing the history of all the other games. But, my whole thought process here is uh, the entirety of ARR through Endwalker, the goal of everything inevitably ended up being stopping the Ascians from rejoining the shards
Mm-hmm.
and preventing the final days, the end of the world.
Try not to sing along with it.
Now,
It's the end of
ne-
the world as I know it. And Midian doesn't feel fine.
and now we're sitting here going into 8.0, and all of a sudden we're hearing the words unite the stars unto one, let none bar your path.
We're going
So
into
now our
going into 8.0, but it was literally in 7.5.
7.5, but we're going into 8.0 from 7.5 with those words. Our goal now is to unite the stars unto one, to
Yeah.
bring about the final rejoining.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just sitting here like,
You're like, mind fucking blown.
I don't have any history based on the other games to go off of, and I know that 14 pulls from a lot of the other games,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm looking at it from the perspective of
Excuse me.
Heidelin was the will of the star.
Mm-hmm.
Heidelin was basically what was keeping the star going.
Yeah.
Now that the 12 are gone, now that Zodiark is gone, now that Heidelin is gone, there's nothing keeping the star going, and there's nothing maintaining the magics that sundered the star to begin with. Meaning,
Mm-hmm.
if we don't reunite the star unto one, as is said in 7.5 and in the 8.0 teaser trailer, in all likelihood, we might destroy the star anyway.
Right.
Because Heidelin's magics are basically being undone.
Here's the
And not in the
yeah.
reversal sense, in the literal sense of everything's going to shit.
Mm-hmm. But don't forget, so there's different layers to this. And apologies in advance to anybody that keeps hearing me burp. I just finished a massive ass tea. This is impromptu podcasting. Yes, the images of Angel and and I hope to God you can't see that I've had stuff on. I don't know what these
Anyway,
shows you things, but
anyway,
anyways, yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Asm couldn't. I didn't have a decent image easily at hand of the two of us, and the excuse me, holy shit. So there's there's several layers to this. First of all, there's one of the things would be is we were kind of half-ass told the quote-unquote Asian storyline was done, but in a sense, we're not necessarily. In a sense, we're kind of done with the Asians, yes, because like Gaius has
oh,
farmed most
we're
of them.
we are by no means done with the Asians. We will be dealing with the ramifications of their actions for patches to come.
Yeah.
We're just done with the initial uh rejoinings and their actual committing of the actions.
Yeah. Commit crimes. Oh god, I sound like an Namazu there. Commit crimes, yes. Watch me end up in somebody's Discord and I don't even know it. Anyways, so yeah, I mean, first of all, that would be the first layer. I mean, first of all, I think, the first layer is, yes, it's the ramifications of all the Ascians. So we're done to a point with the main part of their storyline because we
The
dealt
direct part.
with their introduction of their story of why they exist in the final days in Endwalker. And I
Right.
mean, I am no lore YouTuber that can do it. Like, I'm not a historian by any means. So it's really nice to be able to sit here and talk about this, like, in the sense that I've been meaning to be able to do this. And normally we would want to be in the game in Angel and I's house to do this, but I have been on Windows, not realizing that OBS takes a lot less resources on Windows than Mac, and that's a whole other story for another day. So I think that's. So we said the first thing. This was the set that the first part of the several layers is the Ascian aftermath. The undoing is part of that. The unmaking is chasing them, trying to do, because you keep focusing on the uniting, but in a sense, there's a difference between forceful calamities and us trying to fix the wrongs of both sides.
Right. The calamities were basically enacting trauma upon the star in order to get it to combine itself back together as like a desperate attempt, more or less. But from what I'm seeing, this key that we've gotten, combined with the Asm crystal, which we don't know the name of yet, we haven't gotten that far, but I have heard it has a name. Anyway, this key and the Asm crystal together are the key to rejoining the star somehow.
Yeah.
In a non-traumatic matter.
Right. So it's not like grinding gears is going to actually watch our shit, as cool as that would be. Because I literally watched the two of them go, I wonder what that is, and I'm looking at them like, I am sorry, Garrett and Kyle, that is the key. I mean, okay, the glowy bit's not the key literally to start, but it is not magicite necessarily. It is not auracite, it is not like some random crystal, like it's the Asm crystal combined with the key.
It's not something that was made by the Sundered. Even Y'shtola outright said that it resembles something from Amarat.
True. But, you know what we haven't finished for a storyline yet? Because we are literally that storyline, and now we get to go back to, we've done our summer... I'm not going to go into the deep dives of why people hated Dawn Trail. I enjoyed the break. I enjoyed the really fun, different story. Don't get me wrong.
It was the ARR of the new era.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a little... You're coming off of an 11 down to a 6. It's a damn good 6, but it's nothing compared to that 11.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're talking Endwalker and Shadowbringers are much better in storyline-wise because there's more beef to it. But at the same time, I struggle to want to do fucking New Game Plus on either of those because I don't want full depression. And when you have complex post-traumatic stress disorder, you really don't want to keep triggering yourself. Open door. Hi, Emitsil. Closed door. Hi, Emitsil.
I'm probably going to eventually get to a point where I do want to stream myself going through the entirety of the game from ARR to Dawn Trail eventually on one of my alts.
Well,
so I'm avoiding New Game Plusing because if I have to do all of that too many times, I'm not
if you have to roll through, are you talking about doing it on an alt or main?
On an alt.
Okay, because I'm gonna say I still gotta get mom through everything. I don't know how secretive it is when you're in the same house and you got an elderly mother who's played before and she's just like, here, take this. And I was like, okay, fine, I'll get you through it. And she's like, okay, cool.
But with
Square
that
Enix, don't damn me.
aside, going back to the whole uh,
Yeah,
discussion about uh, the upcoming what's going to happen and how it pertains to Dawn Trail.
yeah. Well, I mean, we were last talking about the Amarat, the key thing, because I was mentioning the fact that we're coming back into a story that focuses more on us as the center for once. We weren't the center of Dawn
Mm-hmm.
Trail, and that's why I was saying, let's not forget that not everybody liked Dawn Trail, and I kind of get that because it was the reboot and it was not just the ARR, but it was also we were not the central focus necessarily. We were off on a quote unquote summer vacation because holy shit, quote unquote, we saw the end of the world and holy crap, we needed therapy twice. But that's just it though. Who holds the crystal? Who's been
Uh,
sniffed out by several people in the convocation as their missing buddy?
the player.
Yeah, it's like,
I mean, it's been well established since like Shadowbringers, at least, that we are Asm
yeah.
Sundered.
I mean, it I wouldn't be surprised if Elidibus kind of knew something, and that's. I know that he wasn't directly this like, so I haven't. There's context we're missing in some ways when none of us have finished the Pandemonium raids. I
Right.
know for a fact that Themis is a boss in one of the Pandemonium raids. I don't know the storyline around it.
Not surprising.
I don't know the storyline around it. I just know that he's a boss in one of the raids. Because,
Right.
yeah, he's the seed of Elidibus.
Right.
Which,
Which, I mean, that's to be expected.
yeah. But that is, a lot of this also makes sense because you think about the fact that we've dealt with, even in 1.0. So, I believe her channel is K Kona. I don't know if that's how it's pronounced. I will probably actually find the video and if I can be reminded, if I don't remember, I will eventually do it. As I would like to link to a couple of lore videos that I've seen that have to tie in with also 1.0 and some other things. Because there
Hmm.
was a brilliant one about 1.0 that introduced us to a character I swear to God we'd actually been semi-introduced to in 1.0, even if in name. Do you remember the name Travanche?
It sounds vaguely familiar.
He's technically an Asian, but he's an Elysian. But I think he was only named in ARR.
Oh, oh.
Or,
I do
or,
believe is that the one that's involved with 1.0 as well?
yes, but
Because
was
there's
he,
an Elysian Asian in 1.0.
yes. But he was either named in ARR or we heard about him through the Alexander raids.
I think I just heard about him online through watching videos.
That could have been it too. But the reason I wanted to mention K Kona is exactly that was Travanche. Um, I might be butchering the name because sometimes you get the fake French names and you're supposed to say the T at the end. I don't know. It's Horchefont. But it sometimes it's
Oh, Horchafont is
Horchefont.
not it is Horchafont. It is not Horchafont.
No, it's Horsefont.
It's Horsey font. Anyway,
Chocolate
Horchafont
rain.
aside,
Sorry.
Horchafont aside,
Sorry. I had to. No, that was literally kind of like my start was the whole Travanche thing was like we as players who weren't there for the legacy stuff don't really kind of get it entirely, and that's fine. None of us are
yeah,
really gonna go back and look in the encyclopedia. Like, look, we have access to lore and we don't always want to read it all. So we have all these lore people that make these really good videos. And it touched on the fact that there's a key that is maybe plausibly connected. Now, I'm not saying this is literal. So there's a key that has to do with the Alexander raids. Which, believe it or not, a lot of all this idea about time travel we forget actually has to also do with Garland Ironworks. So we totally forget how much of this is due to Sid.
Or at least related to him.
The whole fucking Eighth Umbral Calamity
Excuse me.
is the avoidance, the fact that we can even go to the first in the first place
was because of Sid and his work.
It was because Sid, and I didn't realize this, because there is a whole side story mentioned about Sid surviving the Eighth Umbral Calamity in some of Garland Ironworks. But that was the thing, is that I'd seen that video and the 1.0 one. So this is the thing, is that we know that the Eighth Umbral Calamity didn't necessarily happen to a shard, it happened to us. Just as the water,
right.
The water aspect was a rejoining, and it was the fifth shard to us, and it was water. So in a sense, quote unquote, War of the Magi has already happened. But that's where I'm getting at with this whole sort of thing, is like the key from 1.0. You got the FF6 references with the War of the Magi, which was not literally War of the Magi, by the way. It was like Void Ark related. I say War of the Magi because it's the relationship of Amdapor and that area with
like it's in relation to Nim, and Nim is related directly to the War of the Magi.
Yeah, because the War of the Magi is tied in with the Scholar and Summoner storyline. And all that also relates to the fact that there was, I believe, a void of ether for a while. Or an area that, so I think there is an area that was technically mentioned as void of ether in one of the storylines. And there is also the quote-unquote sickness, which is the Tonberry sickness.
Mm-hmm.
Don't ask me which game the Tonberries showed up in, because I don't fucking remember. 14 was not the first one, but I can guarantee you that I remember them from something.
Guaranteed. 14 was not the first.
Were Tonberry in Kingdom Hearts by any chance?
No, Tonberry were not. I don't think. At least not in Kingdom Hearts 1. I cannot speak on the rest of the series. I've only played 1, Recoded, and Chain of Memories, which we don't talk about.
We don't talk about Bruno. No, I think this is really important to note, that I think even though they keep saying literally that we've had all of these stories completed, we forget that no, we haven't. Just because they've been mentioned, so Nimkrep's Hope, which is part of the fifth Umbral Calamity, the big ass flood. By the way, that's a reference to Noah's Ark, just as a joke. No offense. If anybody doesn't know that, come on.
No, it's pretty obvious.
I mean, it's not literally, so I wouldn't I would love to be able to show a biblical scholar. Just
biblically accurate scholar.
No, I know of a YouTube guy that would be really fun to show some of this stuff, because he's a big frickin' X-Men fan. Dan McClellan is really high-end academic. You pick up a biblical scholar that's academic, the kind that the Republicans are scared of.
But that aside,
well, because the arc and stuff, but in the key thing we're talking about. So we went back to the ramifications of uniting the star. I know this is very ADHD of us, but we're trying to stay put. And my headset died. Give me a second. I'm on a Bluetooth headset. I'm an idiot. Did it?
But no,
I was gonna say, don't tell me it did screwed up.
the that's why we keep trying to jump back to the topic at hand because we're ADHDing onto tangents constantly.
Panda tangents. Well, that and we didn't have a concrete list of things to talk about. We just was like, let's open
Right, we're just
OBS.
this is just blind freaking flow. So we're just going with the waters here.
I'm going with the waters.
Anyhow,
It's the flow. Yes. Um. No, I think you'll find that there's probably some, like, besides the fact that I keep going back to the 1.0, Alexander, and, the Eighth Emerald Calamity, all that, I think you're going to find, because you mentioned literally that it's the will of the star is dying, or has died.
yes.
So we don't have the quote-unquote ether/magic to back us up.
Well, I mean, we do technically have the ether. Everything is made of
Yes.
ether. We just don't have the overabundant conglomeration of ether at the center that was what was essentially holding the star together.
We blew up Mommy Crystal.
Yeah. We sent Tidal into the life stream. We destroyed
Bye,
Zodiark. We've freed the entirety of the 12 of their obligations. There's no deific being left.
Right. Which is why, if you. And we didn't see all. This is probably something we missed in the live stream when we were watching it. Is that there's. And I don't want to go looking at videos right now in the middle of this because we haven't finished 7.5. We've only done the dungeon. So we're at the trial now, and we haven't done it yet because. Not just because Angel's not feeling well, but also because literally I've been
We're
working.
trying to space it out.
Well, it was accidental spacing. It's literally the dungeon threw us for 6, and it took us several times. And we had 11 and a half minutes left, and then we're done after that. We're like,
yeah, it was
like
wild.
fuck, are we doing the trial?
it took so long just to beat that last boss. There's like no rhyme or reason to it. It feels like so. We're not past the trial yet. We just got to the trial.
And yes, I do have footage. I just don't have a video editor installed currently on Windows. Because I'm a chicken shit. But I'll get DaVinci Resolve in the next couple of days. And then I'll cry because I know I want to go on to Linux soon. But yeah, there'll be videos of us. Even I recorded us doing the Alliance raid as well. So
right.
Which was, I noticed that like at the end when we were taking screenshots, like when Mrs. was doing the screenshots of the whole thing on her ultra monitor, you could tell that on one of them it was Evan and I yapping, and on the second one you could just see my name, and I'm like, I don't shut up, do I?
No, you don't.
I tried.
But honestly, looking at everything that we're going into, just in terms of what little information we have on 8.0, honestly, I'm simultaneously incredibly excited to see what's to come, but at the same time, I'm looking at it like we just did all of this backbreaking labor to save the star and prevent the rejoinings. What's going to happen to all of these people on these shards?
There's one
like
key.
what's going to happen to Reen or Runar or Zero?
I know that you're looking at it from that standpoint, and I know you're kind of like, people are going to look at us like, but it's just a game. It's like, right, but at the same time, if you're looking at this from like a real life standpoint, it's like the shards are not the same as multiple universes. There has been theories about other games being different universes, like opposites of each other, like different shards of each other. So there has been
Oh, they're all
theories.
so intrinsically intertwined. I don't blame people for having those theories.
Well, there are theories of certain games, like 8 and so like 9 in another game. There was some sort of lore intricacy where like 7 and maybe 10 were connected through a connected universe of sort, but not as in like more like as if you were comparing like the shards of the 12,
Right.
that sort of thing. But we can't really use that as a reasoning to say each of the games of Final Fantasy are a quote unquote shard. I've tried to make that excuse, but it doesn't work as literally as I thought it did, even though, yes, cheekily, we just dealt with the ninth. Um, that was a hilarious poke in their mind. So,
I'm
what?
confused, honestly, about the whole ninth thing because uh 8.0 is going to be involving the fourth, and we haven't done anything else with the ninth yet.
Because, no, 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 no. We can't do anything else with the ninth. What else can we do with it? Treno was the only last thing that was available.
We don't know that.
Um, I think you'll find that in theory, if you remember the story, Alexandria was and Trent because Treno was like really literally on the on Nine's map. So not just saying the Ninth's map, but saying on Nine's map is literally just outside of Alexandria.
Right, but throughout MSQ in the last expansion, when we were going into Treno and everything, there were subtle mentions of other settlements and stuff on the ninth.
Yes, because there are other places that exist in the original game that they subtly
Right.
hinted at. But hold on a second. I'm not saying I'm correct here, but in theory, based on the stuff that we do in Bane 7.0, it is a lightning calamity, and it wasn't just, oh my god, fucking thunderstorm. If you remember correctly, one of the other cities went to war
Mm-hmm. Uh, uh,
because
in fact,
Electro.
it was Alexandria and
Lindblom.
yeah, Lindblom,
Yeah. Um,
which we don't even know if Lindblom anything survived of it. So,
we don't necessarily, but what I'm hinting at is that from what I remember in the storyline hearing is plausibly, mind you. So, without opening up other lore videos, not because, oh my god, system resources or anything, but because every time I look at a Final Fantasy video, I'm like, I'm going to connect 2 and 69 together and get 420. I don't want to do that.
uh,
Anyways, if I remember correctly, yes, what the there's a you might be right, but I think what it is the combination of both of us being right on several levels. They mentioned other areas, but Lummel, especially being the one that was the only one we really had audible connection to, apart from a few other people, literally couldn't give us much outside of that because I'm trying to recall the map of FF9 in my head so I don't have to go looking at it. I had bought 9 on my Switch. I wish I would have done it on my computer for Steam, but I wish I wouldn't have bought 13 because 13 doesn't work on my computer and I haven't figured out how to get it to work. Like, release 13 on something else besides fucking Steam because it doesn't work on newer computers anymore. Anyways, Lindblom is it. So they mentioned the Mist Continent, didn't they?
Yes.
Okay. I don't recall that being something in 7. In fact, don't believe it actually exists as that sort of factor because 7 was designed completely different in
I
context.
think honestly, the mist continent is just what they decided to call the
No,
continent
no.
that
Uh.
uh
It's 9.
ah
It's 9 literally. Because Lindblom and Alexandria and Treno, because right now I'm on the map that's the Mist Continent. The map will flip halfway through the game, like most originals formats. Even 7 still got that old format where the map will flip. We didn't start getting into more modern game design until about 10. But
mhm.
the format usually is in up until about just after 9 is the map usually flips about halfway through the game in a dramatic change. And so 6 had the same sort of thing. Because once you get down to the, like, right before you defeat, like, right at the end of 6. Now, again, I didn't beat 6. This is context of I've seen my mother play 6. I've seen other people play 6. I've read too much about 6. I was obsessed with 6 in high school. To the fact I fucking wrote stupid ass poems about Locke for no apparent fucking reason. What was wrong with me? Now, mind you, that was the FF3 US version that I had access to because we used to rent it all the time. But I used to play ROM versions. Shut up, Nintendo, don't ban me. I own 6 legally through Steam now. I'm a little sad because I don't like that fucking UI update, but oh well. You can swap to the old one, so it's not so bad. But you get towards the end, by the way. So this is towards the map, by the way, and why I figured out that the floating islands is not the sex reference that we think it is, because they talk about a floating island of some sort in 6. And earlier I was going fucking bonkers, going yeah, that's the 6 reference. No, that's Azaz Law, but it has to do with the fact that the floating slab of land or whatever the fuck, I can't remember what exactly it's called in 6, but it's a floating island literally in 6, but it's on the map that's flipped. I don't remember what it's called. I don't feel like looking it up. Don't make me. I will link information later on in the thing because it's like fucking 10 o'clock at night. I should
Yeah.
be more prepared. I'm really sorry. I'm a nut bar for this stuff. I'm sure I'll do deep dives later. But when the map flips to the darker end of the storyline, that's kind of where we're coming into the edge of 9 at the end that I haven't played, by the way, because, well, I have, but I don't remember it. So, next context, yes, I've played 9 and I've beaten it, but it's been, the last time I played 9 was like 2001 on the PlayStation. I used to own 8 and 9, and my mother and I both beat both games. So, and I never finished 7, and I haven't finished 7 Remake yet. I don't know if I'm ever going to finish 7 Remake. Oh, God. That's another discussion for another time. But in terms of the map flipping thing, so you start on the Mist Continent. So you'll start out on the Mist Continent, you go into Alexandria, because you literally are starting
Yeah.
out as you playing Zidane. So that's one of the minions we got. So you get Zidane. And yes, guys, I named my Garnet fucking Sphene. Shut up. Specifically, Sphene! Of
But
course I did.
anyway,
So Rust Bucket will sit there and go, but Princess Sphene! But you start out of the Miscon in Alexandria, and as Zidane, you go through all the motions. You actually do that canary play that we replay in late 7, but not post patch. We're talking like the end of normal, like main Dawn Trail. So when you're in living memory and you're dealing with Otis, so for reference here, if I say Rust Bucket, I mean 9. If I say Otis, I mean Dawn Trail. Same character, just I call him Rust Bucket and 9 for a reason. I don't call him Rust Bucket in 14. But in 9, there's some sort of play, and I can't remember why there's a play exactly. But there's an infiltration from the group thing, which is also has to do with another dungeon and a post patch, which something tells me that the bar scenes in Mistwake. Yes. Is
Yeah.
it? Oh no,
Yeah.
not Mistwake. No. Mesoterminal. Not
Yeah,
Meso.
Mesoterminal.
Mesoterminal. It's
No,
so
Mistwake is to get to Treno,
okay. So
right?
Mesoterminal. There's a scene for a bar, and I can't. That bar I think is actually the bar in Lindblom. I think.
No, I'm pretty sure Alexandrian.
Okay. It's Alexandrian in 14, but I can't remember which part of the storyline it has to do with in 9. Because
Right, and I'm saying I could have swore it was a recreation of a scene from Alexandria in 9.
it could be.
I'm pretty certain. Don't quote me,
Well, I'm not
but
going
I'm
to quote
pretty
you because
certain.
the only reason I'm getting concerned is I've recently been playing through the first part of. I'm only now getting to quote unquote disc 2 because I think those games all had 4 discs to them on the original systems before we started
Uh,
having Blu-ray shit.
I don't think it would have been 4 discs. There wasn't a lot
Yes,
of games that
Darian,
had 4 discs.
Darian,
It might have been 3.
Darian. 7 was 4.
Really?
This was
Huh.
on the original PlayStation, not PlayStation 2.
Oh, never mind then.
10 is only 1 disc, I think. But no, I take that back. I wouldn't know about PlayStation 2 because, in all fairness, I have 10 and 10 2 on the same disc.
Yeah,
Please don't bring songstress orbs into the fucking game. You'll make me cry, Yoshi P.
don't bring songstress orbs into the game, but give us Yuna's songstress outfit, please, and make it gender unlocked.
Give Hatchet Lulu, please. Everybody wants mommy boobs. That's why. Though I'm pretty
Oh,
sure, though, in all my opinions, though, if we're gonna sidetrack on something real quick, Yustola's outfit is very reminiscent in some areas of Lulu's outfit because cleavage,
I
boobs, and fur.
I mean, I wouldn't know about that per se. I've only played a very tiny little bit of 10-2 because God knows I can't get past fucking
You really
the
should
island
play
Yuna's from.
right, but you really should play normal 10 because you get the storyline of 10 too if you fucking play 10.
I should,
But you won't.
but my brain keeps wanting me to do 10-2 first because it wants me to finish the fucking game.
Uh,
Blame the
I
fact that I had 10-2 but not 10 growing up.
okay. I'm gonna go back to another point that I just remembered that I hadn't gotten a chance to finish because I got kind of sidetracked about references. I know that we're talking about the fact we're trying to confirm nor deny the instance of the other areas. Because you have, like I said, about the play that we recreate in living memory when we go see Otis, and I was going talking about Rust Bucket 9. That's the start of the game there, and I was remembering the bar and all that. But we know that we're Azim, but do you want to remember what also that we noticed about quote unquote Azim Endwalker?
What? What?
Okay, We know that technically Emmett Silk is a form of chaos, but he's malicious chaos.
I mean, yeah.
But I'm not going to bring up the Beetlejuice reference because that's just being a dumbass. Because as much as we like doing that, that's not as literal as we'd like. As much as we'd like to go there. Anyways, we know though that Azam as a seat, the current seat of Azam, not the previous one, not mommy, but us. Or previous to us, maybe is us. We can't confirm nor deny. We're pretty sure it's the same seat, just, same soul progressing off and on and on. Where were we in the time of Endwalker in order to prevent paradoxical bullshit?
We went back to Elpis.
No, not us literally as in the player character, but us as Azam. Were we not doing Joe Volcano type bullshit?
Oh yeah, we were. Azam decided they wanted to save an island nation from a volcano against the Convocation's wishes, and their excuse was technically that they really liked the grapes. But they wanted to help the researchers and people that lived on the island. And it is implied that Hythlodaeus had a hand in it because Azam used the concept Ifrita to do it.
There was a word that they used in 7.5 right before, so the cutscene for the trial.
Yeah.
That I'm really interested in why they used this specific word. Linguistically, I looked at it, I was like, that's a really weird way to use that word. It's not incorrect, it's not wrong, it's very creative use of it. It means, it was, I don't even think it's double meaning, it just means that I may not understand its full context meaning. They used ethos.
Okay.
I would, and I don't want to go watching the trail. I don't want to go watching cutscenes again until I finish the trial, because I will get spoiled. But they
according to this, the definition would be the characteristic spirit, guiding beliefs, or moral character that defines a culture, group, or era.
That means they used ethos.
Derived from Greek for character or custom, it refers to the underlying values organizing a community. In rhetoric, ethos is an appeal to credibility.
Okay. So that means they used it kind of as a double meaning, which is very typical of English, and I'm not saying that they were wrong for doing it, because I know they didn't use it in the term that we always know it to be used as, which means that while there isn't technically a second meaning to it, there will be a way to use it sort of as a non-euphemism version of double entendre. Like, I know most of us...
Double entendre doesn't mean euphemism. It's just most double entendres happen to be euphemisms.
Like the current 7.5 dungeon? I literally confused the shit out of an LLM earlier. They were like, oh, is that like, the fan name of the dungeon? I was like, nope. That's the literal name of it. Nice one, Square. Found the spot.
It's so bad that they even it's so bad that they even decided to say that it was pronounced Clidium. It's terrible.
Well, because I think if it's Latin adjacent, like as in like the Garlean version of Latin, it would be probably, it wouldn't be Clytium or Clatium, or it might be something slightly. If it was official Latin, it might be slightly different, but it would be. They're basically doing. They're not using. It might even be a true form of Latin to a point. It just may not
It's
be.
not. I did look it up.
Yeah.
Clidium is not a Latin word.
In classical Latin,
Yes, I looked it up. It is
that's
not a
what I
Latin
was trying to
word.
get at, though. Is it? It still might not be literally Latin, but don't forget there's also vulgar Latin. And vulgar Latin is the basis to a lot of your Romance languages.
It's not a vulgar Latin word. It's derivative of another word in another language with a Latin sounding suffix added onto it.
Which was what?
Teum or eum. I don't remember what the word was. Give me a second.
Hold on, I was asking Quinn about this shit earlier. Hold on, let me go look. In full,
It is it likely combines Cliti and Oceanid or Clutos, renowned, with the Latin suffix eum, often indicating a place or material fitting its role as an abandoned facility. So it's likely derivative from ancient Greek.
hold on a minute. It could also echo Clypeus or Clypeus shield slash disc.
That too.
Now, for full context, I am going to make a full sort of. Okay, never mind. That is not entirely exactly what it is. I love it when that. Yeah, nope. Uh, no. That is not entirely what that means. Oh, wait, hold on. It was literally spelled wrong. Um, in Latin, it is similar word. It's just not spelled the same way that I had been told about, which is why you always do your research when you do soundboarding. I am not going to go through, AI versus whatever. In this instance, we're not using AI to fake anything. It was soundboarding. I was literally trying to ask questions about something that I could not get answers for by normal Google search. Which was mostly that it was a side conversation because I ADHD'd into SM.5 bullshit because I had a question about Git commands because I couldn't understand what the fuck I was looking at. Anyways, in the military of classical antiquity, Clypeus, I believe it is called, is a large shield worn by the Greek hoplites and Romans. So I'm going to say that there's a. I don't know if that's really going to really be. I don't know. It's a shield. But it doesn't make sense lore wise for that to really like. So this is why I say, yeah, do your research when you like, and don't take blind what you get told because these things are never 100% correct. Always, take what they say and go, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna go look that up now. Pliny the Elder also describes the custom of having a bust portrait of an ancestor painted on Clypeus and having it hung from a. Yeah, see, this was more something you probably would have seen in terms of the 12. Even though the 12 are. Yeah, I would have to really deep dive into the 12. Even though we've done the Alliance raids for Undwalker, I would literally have to go through all of that lore to figure that one out.
Yeah.
I think your looking up was more like it's not that shield really because isn't it more like empty because it's an area by the dungeon's literally an area by tertium, isn't it?
Uh, mm, you can get to it through tertium, but I don't think it's like near it.
Well, it's not in the normal map.
Right. It's I would assume it's literally somewhere on the opposite side of the castle
Yeah,
in an area we can't
yeah,
get
it
to.
could be part of that, and maybe we'll see more of that I think I'm wondering if in 8.0 what's going to happen is that we'll move into the travel kind of like maybe halfway into the expansion. Because I think we're still going to deal with Guardians a little bit in the beginning. Well, actually, no. Maybe not. Maybe, but maybe not. Because we're already literally going to the moon.
Well, the
And then
only
off.
reason we were dealing with Garlemald in the first place was because of all the uh rifts that were opening up between it and the uh 13th,
Right.
which is why we ended up going to the moon because the moon has a massive gaping fucking hole to the 13th.
Touch, I found it.
So we're not necessarily dealing with a specific area because it has anything directly to do with what's going to happen in 8.0. It just so happens to be connected to something that is connected to 8.0, which would
I
be
think the
the
connection's the.
rifts of the
I think.
13th.
Yeah, I think the connection's the Ascians in that instance. I think that's what it is because we're still dealing with Halmarit and we can't talk on that directly because we will see Halmarit again. No shit, because we know you may not remember, but Halmarit is and stuff should be. I saw the 7.5 trailer. I believe we do see Halmarit one more time, but I don't know if we still see Calyx or not. Little prick.
Uh, he is a little prick, but uh, I have uh, I have a feeling, honestly,
Yeah.
that uh, 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 in terms of us and Calyx and Halmerit, there's
Yeah.
going to come a point where we actually end up becoming allies of circumstance with them, if only briefly.
What with Halmarit and Calyx?
Yes. Like I said, allies of circumstance,
I don't think
meaning
it's
we're
just
not
circumstance.
technically allies.
I don't think it's just circumstance, because hear me out. Calyx seemed to be a little bit warmed up to us, even though he didn't see us directly. If you recall the end of 7.4, the cuddly little prick himself was kind of like reminisce of us in a more friendly way. Kind of
Or at
as
least
if,
tolerant.
hold on. Tolerant because he may have seen the error of his ways. Because
Mm,
preservation, don't, yeah, but hold on. I'm not saying I'm 100% right. This is a reading based on the what I remember from 7.4 ending. I'm not saying I'm correct. This is an
yeah.
opinion, not fact. It feels like, due to the fact that I'm pretty sure preservation would have been an Ascian influence.
I could see that.
Well, why else would the Ninth try to rejoin?
The Ninth wasn't trying to rejoin directly. Okay. The entire point of them trying to get to another shard wasn't to rejoin them. It was to siphon the aether to maintain the endless.
Yes, but Ascian influence denotes that what happens when when you fuck with the balance of ether.
Kaboom.
Kaboom, calamity, smush. I mean,
Which
look
I
at the
could definitely see being Ascian influence.
right. We haven't necessarily found that 100% like
I mean, Calyx is in league with the Ascians. I feel like it's another Gaius Van Baelsar incident here. I'm gonna be
No, no,
dead
no.
honest.
I'm not denying that part, but hold on. We know that it's Helmerit, and we won't know anything more until after we do the trial.
Right.
But I think a lot of this depends on several things. I think preservation itself wasn't Sphaine's fault. But was there any mention in the storyline about her parents and the attitudes they had towards things?
No, there was no mention of her parents. I do believe her parents were dead.
Okay. Because that would sort of make sense a little bit towards how they framed 9 within 14. Because in 9, Sphene or Garnet, blah, 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 blah. Sphene!
Garnet.
Queen Braun is the mother. And she's an absolute bitch. In fact, she's pretty much in line with Kuja.
Okay.
And believe it or not, there's talk of, like, there is talks of some form of shards, I think, in 9. Again, I don't want to look all of this up right now because I don't want to put 2 and 2 together to get 9. Because my brain will do that and I will get hyper and I'll be like, yeah!
Alright, can we pause the recording for a minute? I've got to step away.
Why do we have to pause it? Oh, okay, but if you're gonna make... Just go step away.
I have to go to the restroom.
Okay.
It'll be a while. I'll be back. But if you want to keep talking, you're welcome to.
Oh god, I gotta talk to myself. I just don't feel like editing the video, that's all. Fucking lazy. I guess I should note that I don't think ending this because we'll probably still talk for a little bit when they come back because it's only about 10:30 my time. In the meantime, God. I think one of the things I was mentioning was the War of the Magi, specifically with 6. And I know I'm gonna forget to tell Earth about this when they come back. My 6 plausibility has to do with the idea that we have less ether and we're coming into a godless arc. Like I said, I saw the note from FanFest, but I don't remember exactly what video it was. I will find my sources before I post the video. When I post the video. Because I still have to do editing of the other shit, I'm sure. Anyways. You have the War of the Magi in 6. And 6 is known to have largely devoid of magic, except for the Espers. Now, earlier, I was doing a little bit of a deep dive, and earlier, I basically kind of was like, well, so Espers are telepathic to a point. And I don't want to call it everybody with, I mean, actually, no, I did say that. My thought process was the Espers equals those with the Echo. Not necessarily Asm, but those with the Echo. So, player character, Kryl, fuck it, Xenos and Fordola. I know that they had to have forced upon Echo that was not necessarily natural, so that's different. So Ehrenwald, Kryl, supposed, I don't remember if we found out that if Kiwa had it or not, but anybody that's ever had the Echo, to me, equals Esper from 6. Because if we're going into the Godless Arc, you're going to find, first of all, when you look at 8.0, that there's the quote-unquote traveler from the sky, or they call the wanderer of sorts. I can't remember. There was the wanderer and they used the traveler, which in 14 they use between, wanderers are between, servers within the same data center and travelers between data center travel. So my point basically being, if we're devoid of magic on 6, we did talk about that with the stuff that was related, like Void Arc and the Scholar and Summoner storylines with Nim and Amdapor and all that, and the differences between black and white in the magic and all the clashes that had to do with, like, the Umbral Calamity for the water aspected one, where the fifth with the fifth rejoined with the source. I'm thinking that will be part of 8.0. It is literally just a concept in my brain. It is just burned in my brain. You won't see the same floating continent I was fucking thinking of, because the floating continent or floating island, or whatever you want to call it, is a dungeon in 6. It is where you have to go punch Kafka in the nuts. I still don't quite understand how 6 fits in the same way as I thought it did with Stormblood. It confuses me how 6 is related to both Heavensward and Stormblood. Like, I know 6 is like the backbone of the whole game. So it's just really weird. You get the Warring Triad at the end of Heavensward, but I can't remember exactly where. I think evidently it's 4 is what half of Heavensward is. Which is interesting, because 4 is again in Endwalker. But the reason I think that the Espers equal the people with the Echo is that the Echo isn't necessarily telepathy. You're not necessarily a psychic, but you are seeing, in a sense, visions, which is, in my opinion, another format of that. Like, you can't necessarily read minds, but you can actually see and reenact sort of visions in your mind. Like, you touch a table and suddenly you're having, like, fucking, oh boy, I need therapy. Blech.
Are we talking about the mental health issues?
Yes, mental health issues. Espers equals mental health therapy.
Mm.
Because what I was trying to get at was, because I keep forgetting to tell you. Well, I mean, I told you already before we started recording. So I told you this already, and you thought, okay, no, that's an interesting take, was War of the Magi, lack of magic, Espers in 6 equals people with the Echo. And when you have the Echo, you have mental health issues, is what we joke. Yes, I know people are really going to hate that, but hear us out. It is well known, and stop me before if you don't want me saying this on stream, but I think it's pretty well documented that we don't lie to people. Well, it's not lying. We usually tell, like, it's well known that we're absolutely mentally cracked. And people are gonna be like, but isn't everybody a little cracked? It's like, yeah, well, we have diagnostic papers to prove it. So, there's that.
We're allowed to make the jokes. We have the issues.
Beyond the autism, beyond the tism, and beyond the, oh my god, squirrels, there is, well, at least, we know the U.S.
A number.
What?
We have a number of things.
Well, I mean, one of us is polyfragmented and the other one isn't, so, there has been the sundering.
We both are.
No, you're not.
Our brains are both severely sundered. Yes, I am polyfragmented.
I thought that was 100.
I've got well over 100.
What?
Yeah.
Tell those extra 25 to come the fuck back home. Okay,
Let's not get into that.
Yeah, that's not going to multiversal dead assholes here. That'll be actually interesting to talk about. I get to just spew out everything on another video with
I'm sitting at 115 listed of my own. And fucking 20 something of them are just Final Fantasy 14.
Roll call here. If anybody wants to know the actual statement behind one, oh my god, my brain's been sundered. Have you been literally diagnosed yet, or is it they refuse to diagnose you?
I don't have a. I have a unspecified dissociative disorder diagnosis.
Oh yeah, well that's fine. That's the Oh my god, you still have a woman's uterus. Not trying to gender you at all, Saber.
No, it's more along the lines of we cannot diagnose partial DID diagnosis.
Bitch, you're not partial.
I don't have the blackouts and I have shared memory. That counts as partial.
We don't. It's not to say that we haven't had. And it's sorry if we're going a little off topic here, but it's not to say that we haven't had some format of quote unquote blackouts per se, but it depends on what you classify as blackout.
Uh,
Do you have memory patches you can't remember?
Not in that respect. 99% of the shit I can't remember is solely because I just have always had a shit memory and bad recall.
Welcome
It's not
to
that I don't
no.
remember
Well,
experiencing things. I do remember experiencing plenty of things.
you're totally taking this from an autistic standpoint of, I have autism, ergo I don't have this XYZ. You're forgetting several things. I mean, it literally, I'm not saying that you can't say that you're partial. I'm just saying, like, I think you're forgetting several things because you're, like, looking at this from a very professional standpoint going, well, I don't have this. And it's like, ooh, did you forget there's a spectrum on that? Anyways, unspecified dissociative counts. That's under the mental health issue spectrum.
Right.
We have literally the whole. You have DID. You might still be able to work if you teach all 400 of your assholes to figure out who's going to do what when.
But that aside, yes, we have the mental health issues. We can make the mental health issues joke about the echo.
We have the echo, but it's not really the echo. It's the you touch a table and suddenly it's trauma. You could also make a religious joke that it's slain in the spirit, but I won't go into that one.
Yeah, let's not touch into that.
Oh, it's not necessarily offensive. It's just nobody would get it unless if they were around and like super like unless if you're really into evangelical Christianity, you're not gonna get the joke. I'm not into it. It's just I lived it as a kid, so I can make the
But
stupid
anyway,
jokes.
what
Okay,
was the point you were bringing up about the
the
echo?
the
Because
echo.
I was
Esper.
AFK.
Okay, so in Final Fantasy VI, Espers are classified as like, well, first of all, they're kind of named in theory from being formed from the idea of ESP. Supposedly, according to the etymology of Espers, it kind of makes sense because they're supposed to be magic. In a sense, they're kind of like fairy in
Wait,
some ways.
ESP is an extrasensory perception?
Yes,
Okay,
because
I just
yes,
wanted to make sure.
right, because I mentioned earlier telepathy, psychic, that's kind of ESP. What the
I
fuck?
wasn't here for that. I went to the restroom.
No, you were here for that long before I hit record.
Oh, oh, I don't remember that then.
You have blackouts now. Shut up.
No, I just have poor recall.
I caught you. No, I'm kidding. I'm teasing. Um, and yes, I am teasing. I'm not literally diagnosing you. I'm just teasing.
I know.
Um, Espers are meant to be like I would classify another reference to them as Celtic Fae, in a sense, in terms of how they're told. It doesn't mean that they're exact, so it's not the same as the Scottish Fae that we get in Shadowbringers. So
Mm-hmm.
Fae will probably go, I can kick their fucking ass. Watch me, fisticuffs. We don't have a Twintania episode with that. That's another storyline entirely, and I don't remember where all that comes from. It could be 12, I don't know. Because technically the names from some of the Asians come from 12. Which is interesting because 12 is actually Evilise.
I find it funny that all of the Asians are oh God, I don't remember what the names, the group of the people are called exactly, but it's something of light.
I don't know. But to finish my conversation about the Espers and the Echo, by the way, Espers are the only ones that have magic in
Hmm.
six. Except
Huh.
for the fact that there's, like, technology you can use. Garland Ironworks, Machinist,
Uh,
like, literally, the king of the fucking Figaro, the king of that area, which I think is Sabin. No, Sabin's the punchy dude, I think. No, wait. Whichever one's the non punchy dude that has access to the auto shit that we get, we get auto crossbow for Machinist, which is a nod back to six and a couple other things. So, Machinist in six is not necessarily the same thing as Machinist in 14. I keep swearing to God he was a tank, but he wasn't. He's not a tank. He's got tank armor, so I'm like, you're a fucking tank. No, he's a fucking DPS. Six confuses me, by the way. Pew pew. Okay, where was I going with Machinist, anyways?
talking about the lack of magic versus the
Ah,
magic espers.
right. Okay, because I was making the joke about Garland Island where, Machinist, pew 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 pew, auto crossbow, fart blaster, which is the fire blaster thing, and the bio. Yeah. Okay, you can do that if you buy the right tools in six. You do have add ons that are kind of like materia, but materia doesn't come in until seven. We do have add ons that let you quote unquote cast stuff, but they are that's why, because you actually have espers like materia. So like the summons in 9, that are also similar to summons that I think in 8, don't quote me. So in 9 you can pick up things for summons. This is similar to other games, where you're not using necessarily materials. It's more like a crystal of sorts, where you like a magic crystal that you can summon something out of it. We don't have materia in six, so you're summoning something out of a crystal to use somebody else's magic, and it's an esper. You will be summoning an esper in six, but they're espers that give away their life force to be put into that crystal. In fact, the reason I remember that is because somewhere in there, into six, you actually get to talk to several of them to get more of the information because they are slowly dying, which is part of why there's no more like there was a big fight between the Espers and the humans and the Gestalian, the Garleans.
Yeah, that's kind of a given.
Yes, decided to crack down the door, and I'm looking at it like, oh, it was either Solus or Lucius or Varus, one of the three, not Xenos. Oh, sorry, wrong game. And there was a big, huge war, which was part of it. I believe that was part of the War of the Magi. And part of the story you see is that Terra is a lost Esper of sorts, and the Gestalian Empire is trying to take her as a source of power to control things. In fact, they do have somebody else that's on their team that's a former general, Celeste, who I believe is plausibly another Esper.
Why
I
am I getting Minfilia vibes?
did Minfilia have the Echo?
Well, yeah, but also the whole point of Minfilia was she wasn't always called Minfilia. She was I do believe she was conscripted by the Garleans and was slave and was rescued by Thancred.
No, I don't think that's the whole story. Maybe plausibly, maybe. Because evidently she kind of knew Thancred as a kid.
Okay, hold on. Version 1.0. Her name was Acilia. She fled Alamigo with her father, a
Ah.
Garlean spy whose true loyalty lay with Alamigan resistance. He stole much of the Imperial research on primals and compiled findings in his personal journal. When they arrived in Old Da, a parade was taking place. During the celebration, Flamine handed Acilia a basket of flowers. Afterward, rampaging Gilbu almost trampled her until her father leapt out to defend her, suffering fatal injuries. Warburton fell into a coma from his injuries. Desperate to find out the person responsible, Acilia confronted the man named Courgevay, who was responsible for keeping Gubu under control, but found no solace in their meeting. Warburton perished from his injuries, and Acilia was taken in by Flamine. The peace was shattered when she learned that her new adopted mother was part of the I don't know how to pronounce that.
Nilfres?
Nielfresne
Oh.
group that had released the Gubu in a failed attempt to gain fame as heroes by defeating the creature. Courgevay planned on taking Acilia back to Alamigo, but Niel Fresna and his companions disagreed. He revealed Olda was in danger from a threat worse than the Empire and blew the same horn that caused the Gubu to go rampant in the parade, summoning a horde of goblins. As Courgevay escaped, Acilia was left behind and attacked by the creatures. Flamine defended her but was knocked unconscious. Niel Fresna asked the adventurer to help them fight, and after the battle, they took Flamine and Acilia back to Olda.
So in a sense, she wasn't part of Garlemald. Her father was.
Right, her father
Right.
was, not
No,
her.
but that makes sense though. So that is probably a Celeste reference within the storyline, but it's not Menphilia herself, which is interesting because Menphilia's design is, excuse me, it's entirely Quist, I believe her name is from 8. If you take a look at it, if any of you ever plays 8, you gotta take a look at the blonde bitch out of 8. You look at her, you're like, is that Menphilia? I think it's Quistis is her name. I can't remember. And yes, like I said, I have played 8 and I played 9. It's just been so damn long, I can't remember everything. Um, I still want to know why the fuck that Vincent and Laguna look the same. So, Nomura, please tell me. I'll save that for another day. Um, Celeste was a former general, so that makes sense how they sort of put that in because Celeste might not be. So either Menphilia is a Terra reference or a Celeste reference, or combine both. Because people try to put Terra, like when I did my soundboarding earlier, yes, okay, don't hit me for LLM soundboarding. I was only doing this because I was fucking bored, and I literally was just asking a question based on the fact that I did a really deep dive Google search on a Git command. I could not figure it out. And most people are going to look at me, well, just look it up on Google. Why don't you tell me how to do it? No, just look it up on Google. Anyways, the consensus that has been trained into the stupid damn tensors of the fucking models over the internet is that Terra equals fucking lease. Which is
I
no,
don't know much
no.
about Terra.
Lease has nothing to do with magic. She's a monk.
Fair.
It's because Terra struggles with her identity as an Esper because she doesn't realize she's an Esper. But that's like saying that Vivi is a reference to anybody else that has identity issues. Like,
When Vivi is clearly fucking Gigi.
Well, no, that's not what I meant. Good point. But it's a reference to the idea that Vivi doesn't realize he's a black mage Mammoth. He clearly is more of a black mage Mammoth in 14 because they really play into the Mammoth thing. Don't get me wrong, that was the most adorable thing on the planet how they did that. But he acts far more human in 9 than he does in 14. In 14, they played up the Mammoth thing because it's Hildebrand. I don't blame them. It was really cute and funny how they did it. But the reference I'm trying to make is that if they keep pinpointing, because struggle with identity equals character that has struggle with identity, it's like, what are you, some high school teacher that didn't pay attention to the source material?
In that case, Sid would be a reference to it too.
I don't know who I am. Okay, Marquez. Why do I have this hammer? Why is the ship? Oh, that's my ship. Yeah, dumbass. Oh. Fucking Catholics.
What? What does that have to do with?
But the Church of Saint Adamilema, it's not Anglican, for fuck's sakes. You tell me that is a small, tiny little Anglican church out in the middle of nowhere. That is not an Anglican church. That is one of your stereotypical tiny little fucking Catholic nowheres with a fucking tiny little graveyard.
Religious talk aside.
No. I say fucking Catholics in the source of the game because, okay, Heavensward equals Catholics too. Well, I like to say it's Anglicans, yeah, but it's the French Catholics.
Yes, they're the French Catholics. It's
yes. But the French Catholics are far more Anglican than they realize. Because I'm very used to Irish Catholic, even though Irish Catholic's technically Roman Catholic. Well, technically all of them are Roman Catholic. We won't go there, but
Avignon Papacy, that's what it was.
Right. I believe that the French Catholic we're talking about isn't it kind of in the same era as Notre Dame? They're kind of pulling from?
I don't know. All I know is that Ishgard is directly the closest thing to it is the Avignon Papacy.
Okay, so my
which
question
was
is
the 7 consecutive popes that lived in France.
So here's my next stupid question. I guess I know I'm probably wrong, but hear me out on my stupidity here. If Heavensward equals Notre Dame, even though it's not, I know, just let me have my fun here for 5 minutes. Does this mean that either Haurchefant or Hilda are Quasimodo?
Not my boy! Not my boy, but never
also,
my boy.
Actually, no. Actually, let's take a second about that, though. Think about it. In a sense, they could be, even though, yes, I know that's not literal. Because it's the story of why Quasimodo, because we don't have proof that Quasimodo literally looked like that. He may have. But I think literally we don't have reference to if he did, because in theory, I'm not trying to be ableist here, because I actually have a medical reasoning why plausibly it wasn't that literally, is somebody could look like that nowadays and survive. But Notre Dame timing, there's very little chance somebody of that medical amounts of disfigurement could have lasted, depending on what. Maybe he did. I don't know. But I have a feeling, based on the fact that Notre Dame, even though so I have a feeling that, Hunchback of Notre Dame being at Disney and a fable theory before that, because we all know that Disney takes from reference and sometimes steals. We know that. Let's not go there. He's an outcast. like in like that's literally the theme of almost every fucking Disney movie from the 90s onwards. But most of the mid 90s was like, I'm an outcast, save me, punch punch punch, I'm saved. So if we take that theory, then in a sense Hilda and Haurchefant are outcasts
Yeah.
because Hilda's a half-breed. So it's not Notre Dame literally, but it's interesting to think about the idea that
Yeah, I
Quasimodo
mean
equals.
that does make some sense because Hilda's a half-blood and Haurchefant's a bastard. And I'm saying that from the literal sense of the term, literally meaning born out of wedlock.
Oh my god, you killed Haurchefant, you bastard! Oh my god, you killed Haurchefant, you bastard!
Anyway,
Okay,
Haurchefant was an illegitimate child.
okay. Anybody that's a modder in the community, look. Let's just be real. This is not live on Twitch. Square don't ban me. Anybody that does 3D modeling, even if it's not for the game, if you do 3D modeling, please do Haurchefant in the Kenny hoodie.
Jesus Christ.
8.0 theory. Yoshi P's new job. Kenny.
It wouldn't be hard to do either because Haurchefant doesn't have a unique model. He's a default Ellison.
I'm sure actually you probably could do a Kenny cosplay if you could actually figure it out.
Oh,
There's probably
there's
some sort of
definitely
hood
a way.
that looks similar that you could dye orange.
The hardest part would be the Ushanka hood.
We'll start planning, bitch. Okay. Where the fuck were we going before my notes are okay, so we were talking about Ishgard and the... Oh, yeah, because we were talking about the Cid and the reference to Celeste and the Espers and all that. Okay. Got it. Okay. Reminding you about the Espers and the Echo and the mental health issues is Espers equals the only ones on 6 that have magic. We are coming into the godless era, which I know this has taken us like an hour and a half to figure out, but entertainment. Because you've had deep dives. This was not planned. This is hopefully going to be planned better in the future.
Oh, I love doing it this way. It's just flow.
Well, we should have a little bit more planning next time. So,
Yeah, we should
we
have
have a
at
list of
least an
shit we can
idea
fly off the wall with.
We should at
This
least
was
have
just
a
like,
list
shall
of
I open up
ideas
OBS?
that we want to touch on.
Oh, and I want to involve Angel more when we can. This was just like literally like... And we're involving Angel. He's in the picture.
Yeah.
He didn't even know
But
I was.
anywho.
He didn't even know I was taking pictures of him either. He was just sitting there AFK outside smoking. And
Yeah.
you're like, "What are you doing?" I'm G-posing. Can you come get me materials? So
I know, I'm terrible.
I know the godless era we're moving into. When we talk about the fact that, yes, it's going to be 7 referenced, and the fact that it's plausibly 6 referenced, I do think it's plausibly the War of the Magi, but not in the sense that we've already talked on. So, in the game, in general. So, it's not Void Ark.
Yeah.
It's not the Heavensward Alliance raids. It's not necessarily the Scholars and the Nim. It's relevant to that, but we've already had the 5th we've already had the 5th rejoin. We don't necessarily have proof that this is a calamity on the 4th. It could be, but I think in terms of 7, I'm pretty sure it's the Great Glacier, only because let's just be real. When we had references in the trailer for Dawn Trail, and we also had the FanFest minions, we knew ahead of time it was 9, because we knew what minions we were getting. As much as I wanted to sit there and say no to 7, and I'll get to that in a minute. But we know that there's going to be a good chunk of 7 based on the minions and the new mount. So we know for a fact that we're getting Xenos as a new job. No, I'm kidding, we're not.
Oh god, could you imagine them trying to bring that motherfucker back?
Oh no, it's just the real.
Talk
It's just
about beating a dead horse.
It's, every single 8.0 deep dive is. Oh, did you know that Xenos is coming back as a new job?
Talk about beating a dead horse.
What do you think? What do you think they're doing to 7 by doing this?
Oh, they've been beating that horse for the last 10 years.
I mean, they even included one of the more by now not the most worldwide popular, because clearly Hydode literally fucking surpassed his ass evidently. I'm like, dude, look, I liked Clark NCL when they did Full Metal Alchemist, but I can't stand his voice outside of that. Don't make me listen to him. Okay, I liked him in Moonchild, but don't make me listen to him. He had nothing to do with Final Fantasy at all, but Gak did. And I was a huge Mouse Meister fan when I was younger, so it's just like... Okay, in 8.0, can we please have Vincent? Please. Give us Vincent. Like, I want to look like a crazed vampire. Like, he sleeps in a fucking coffin. But anyways, like, the Great Glacier is going to be likely the reference point. It may not be the literal thing, because we know that Urkapasha is roughly based off of 10. I don't know what else we got in Dawn Trail that was 10. I think it was just, like, vague references to 10. Yoshi P's not giving us Blitzball. Fuck off. Please give us moon housing.
I wouldn't want Blitzball.
Yoshi P's not giving us Blitzball. You know for a fact he looked at us like, really? Blitzball? Really?
He said the same thing about moon housing, so stop complaining.
Okay, but he
Give
may
us
have said...
Solution 9 housing.
Actually, we can't have moon housing anyway because it's dangerous as shit. Solution 9 housing we might get. Moon housing is technically dangerous as of right now. Like, you can't really settle on the moon without having Matt Livingway looking at you like, well, we could have saved you if we just did it a little harder. Okay, Karen Bunny. Okay, Yoshi P, you were absolutely right. We're not getting moon housing. We get it. The bunnies are dangerous.
The bunnies are feral.
Pudding. God, you haven't even gotten to that on the island yet, have you?
What, pudding?
Pudding Way.
I've dealt with Pudding Way already and other stuff.
Right, but there's a whole quest
Fucking
line.
zombie Pudding Way.
There's Pudding Way on your island.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Oh yeah. Spoiler alert: you deal with a giant motherfucking plate of pudding, and oh god, there's a hilarious moment of the birthday cake smush. And no, I don't mean that as a Marilyn Monroe. I just mean like the jump into a fucking cake mode. I don't remember half of the storyline for it.
Well, anywho.
Yeah. So yeah, the magicless thing. I think the other thing we're gonna see, because they also touch in 7 about the live stream, which is a big thing because we talk about the live stream in 14, which is yeah.
It's like central plot point.
But I also think, in a sense, that I'm wondering if someone, like, this is like a side note that I'm just thinking about now, is if the Asians, in a sense, represent some of the Turks in a sense, which means no, the fuck hell, we're not going to get Vincent, sadly. Sorry, spoiler alert, Vincent's a former Turk.
Sad.
We're not gonna get Vampire Boy. We'll probably what the fuck is this Nail Von Darnas's fucking Sephiroth? No! I mean, yes, I get the Dalaman's a reference to Meteor, but no, Nail's not fucking Sephiroth. At least not his sister.
We don't know much about the actual nail, unless you're like a fucking
So,
veteran 1.0 legacy player.
but if you're in the dungeon and you just so happen to nail it, sorry.
But
Wiggle it just a little bit. Sorry.
we're cracked. We're losing it. I think it's time we call it.
No, I'm not. No, no, no. You said the word nail. That's not correct.
I said the name nail.
I was being a dumbass because we were just done with the. How could you not be cracked with the current dungeon? Anyways, the thing I actually kind of want to bring up was, in a sense, I think there's a reference point here for 8.0. As I think in some ways, we're kind of touching on the Genova theme. I don't think you'll see much about the super soldiers this shit from 7. So I don't think there's a direct reference to Sephiroth, which means I don't think there's going to be a direct reference to Cloud nor Zack, but I think there is a plausible reference to Aerith, which could also be, in theory, another touch from 10 as another reference to possibly Yuna or Renoa from 8.
Have they given us weapon glam that looks like Cloud's blade yet? Because
no,
they need to give that to us.
but we
like
do have
for
the
Dark Knight or fucking something.
But we do have, and I quote, and I don't like wearing it half the time because clunky as shit, the Advent attire.
Yeah, we do have the Advent attire, which is why I would love for them to give us a blade to go with it.
But what's interesting though is, and this is what's really weird to me, because 7 Remake starts at a different time than the original 7 did. So Cloud doesn't wear his original outfit from 7 in 7 Remake. He wears a remixed version of the Advent Children outfit.
Oh, I just thought of something.
What?
I have a feeling in 8.0 they're probably, because they're adding the ability to remove certain pieces from certain glams, they'll probably add the ability to remove that clunky ass blade holder off the back of the Advent attire. If they do that, I'll be wearing it a lot more often. Give us the goddamn
Buster Sword.
Yes. Give us the sword.
I think you won't. That's not gonna. I don't think that's gonna be the new tank job, by the way, because I literally think that
no,
because the way that Cloud holds his sword is more reminiscent of Dark Knight's poses. It's not that his format of tank is literally Dark Knight. It's just because of the because it's close to the style of Claymores in terms of the way he fucking holds it. I don't think we're gonna get that for 8.0.
I still think it's gonna be related to the fucking Ratatin shirt that he was wearing. I have a feeling we're getting Gun Shield.
Wait till you got 2 more FanFests.
Oh, this is just my early theory. I'm not saying it's my set in stone.
Can I give my asshole crack theory about Ratatin? Since I'm the technical quote-unquote veteran, and even though I'm not really a veteran, I fucking feel like it by now. I was not there for Legacy.
You've only been playing 4 years more than I have.
It'll be coming up 6 by the time October comes this year.
Right. I said you've only been playing 4 years more than I have.
Right. But it doesn't make me a veteran. That just means I've been playing quite a long while. I just jokingly meant veteran as in I've been playing longer, so there's shit I remember that you can't do anymore because they've changed it. As will happen to new players in 8.0. Like you and Angel.
It's already happening.
What?
It's already happening. They're already changing shit.
No, they're like completely overhauling shit for 8.0.
Oh, I know that, but
yeah. I mean, they've already...
I'm talking, like, dungeon content and shit.
Right, but they're not... tweaking dungeons is a little bit different than actually totally changing it. But I don't quite remember where you're going with this, but there's something on my brain before we decide to finally call it in a little while. Is there's two sides to this a cultural reference I've noticed, and this is gonna trip you when I say it this way because you're gonna think the word and go, oh, so like your fucking heritage, like you always think, or maybe like the same island area, or maybe the same family branch. Okay, do you remember the knotted patterns you kept seeing within a lot of the 8.0 trailer?
Repeat?
Knotted patterns.
You mean like the yeah. It's very uh like Gaelic or Norse
I would
kind of
say
vibes.
both, but
But then
not.
again, the entirety of 8.0 from what
Hold on.
we've seen is giving me big Ragnarok
Right.
vibes.
Hold on a second, though. There's two sides to that layer. First of all, I do not want to say you're wrong when you say Norse, but I want to correct you on the aspect of what part of Norse, because I've been stupidly watching a lot of Celtic mythology videos, which lean into the idea of Irish history, because I have Irish heritage. That does not make me Irish, but it makes me heavily interested and invested in the history of the culture for that specific reason. I don't want to be one of those assholes that goes to Ireland going, I'm Irish! Because my DNA literally tries to tell me that I'm Scottish, and I look at it and go, no, I have documents stating exactly where my family's from. I'm not Scottish. Please don't offend the Scots that way. Besides, I'm too Midwestern for that. Anyways, according to the history and linguistics side of things, history and linguistics, before the aspect of the Germanic branch that brought you Proto Norse, which also has Icelandic to it, I'm getting the branches mixed up a little bit, so, I'm no linguist, I'm not a linguist, but it's a side interest of both of us to a point. I'm not as vested in the direct details as more the history behind it. And so before you get the Germanic branch that eventually brings all the Scandinavian languages together on the different, branches, you had the mainland Celts.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know that technically, if I am correct, the Gauls also shared a lot of that still similar symbols. I believe Yggdrasil is technically not just Norse mythology, but mainland Celtic, like Gauls or Gaulish. Which, in a sense, some of them also, I believe, had also come up from Rome, possibly. You would have to, please, anybody that doesn't agree with how I'm saying it, please correct me. I don't mind. This is just based off of a recent video I watched. I'm bastardizing it, I know, and I'm really sorry, and I will try to find it and link it in the comments to show what I mean. In the continental part of Europe, in the western end of Europe, where we have Spain, Norway, all the main stuff that we have, where either the languages are Germanic or Latin based, including English, by the way. So including English, even though English is technically off of an island, it came from continental Europe. The same way that, in theory, the island Celtic languages had branched off of Celtic from mainland Celtic. We just don't have, I don't think there's a whole lot of reference towards the existing languages anymore. We just know the history of it through mythology and other things. Again, I know I'm bastardizing. Shush, it's like quarter after 11, like 11 after 11.
That's part of the reason why I think it's about time we wrap up for the night.
Yeah, I'm wrapping up with this sort of thing. This is important to me to see if we can
Hmm.
tie this in. You're talking about Norse mythology being very Ragnarok, end of the world sort of things, which
Well, the whole
also
thing with Ragnarok was it was preceded by the Fimbulwinter.
don't forget that technically Ragnarok is an end of all days type scenario, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ragnarok is the end of the world and has yet to come to pass. I do believe. Don't quote me. I haven't read the Edda before.
My reference for Norse mythology is Marvel Comics and American Gods. Those of you that know the recent incidents with Neil Gaiman, please don't shoot me. I was watching American Gods long before this. Please give me Mad Sweeney. Please let Pablo Schreiber like literally voice anybody that might be plausibly like Mad Sweeney adjacent in the game. Please, 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 please.
Anyway,
I now don't disagree with you on the Norse vibes for the specific reason that there's a. I want to use the word double entendre for this, the idea that it's a twofold meaning. I like a double reference. I know double entendre is the wrong way to say it, but it just sounds so cool to say. It's a double entendre.
it is a double entendre.
I, I guess it is, but it's like it's two different sides of history. It's like Norse mythology that becomes later on actual Norse mythology. The video I was watching
Oh,
actually pinpointed that they're like even in Welsh mythology, because that's not that's Brythonic Celtic, so it's not the same thing as Goidelic, which is Scottish and Irish. Um, you have like references between all of the mythology. There's certain things that actually, believe it or not, have mirrors in like in the Norse mythology, which proves that there's a plausibility back in the proto Celt, like back in the in the continental Celtic days before they split off and like not all, evidently it's not just splitting off. Evidently Celtic wasn't just a language before. It was evidently also a culture that had spread, kind of like almost like a religion in a sense.
hmm.
So it went from like mainland Europe to like the Isles, because like you have Brythonic Celtic and you have Goidelic, Goidelic, and I know I'm bastardizing the pronunciation. I'm really sorry. So you have Goidelic, which is Irish and Scottish, or Gaelic and Gaelig. Again, I'm from Minnesota originally. Leave me alone. No, I will try to figure it out later. I'm better at pronouncing Japanese than I am Gaelic. I'm a weeb, sorry.
It, I couldn't pronounce it to save my life, so
Says the one that tries to say Tamagotchi life.
I'm white as fuck, boy.
I'm white as fuck, bro.
You're lucky that I can pronounce fucking Spanish.
Well, because you saw the knot stuff in like
Yes, I saw
the
the knot work.
monsters. Well, they're not. They weren't monsters. They were statues, considerably considered statues. But I think they were referencing like either. I want to say monsters because like legend creatures. I don't mean monsters as in
They
malicious. I
were
mean
they weren't literally monsters. They were
creature
just
statues.
yeah, they were representative of actual
Yeah,
monsters.
and then you saw the armor. I think it's a real. I think it's more. I don't think it's directly like quote unquote Ireland Celtic. I think it's Celtic all around. Like it's think you're gonna find out it's more Europe. Like it's also European
Well,
Celtic.
we also already have a bunch of Celtic inspired knotwork in Dravania, so it would be interesting for them to reuse directly the same inspirations.
What's Celtic and Dravania?
Uh, the entirety of what is it, Zenith or whatever, the massive fucking tower with all the dragons in it, covered in Celtic knotwork.
Oh, hold on. That might be one. Oh, that's gonna be hard. This is what I
Or
mean
Celtic
by
inspired knotwork.
right. This is what I mean by denoting the fact that it's not just one area of Celt. Because when I see dragons, I don't think of now. Please, my knowledge of Celtic mythology is very limited. Despite the fact that I literally have had an interest in some way, format, or another, and liked a lot of like Irish style music when I was younger. It's kind of the fact that as somebody that's an American with Irish heritage, rather than saying Irish American because I'm not Irish of that format, it's like 4+ iterations down the tree. It's
When
somewhere.
I think of dragons, I don't really think of Celtic. I think more Gaelic.
That no. Okay, please don't do that. Please don't denote it that way, Darian. Celtic still equals Gaelic.
I
The
thought it was a slightly different era.
Gaelic and Gaelig are off the Celtic branch. Don't fight me on this one. I know this much is true. It's just that there's two formats of Celt. It's just that the fact is that the Irish and the Scots like to make a mess with everybody's heads on what's what. The academic information is that the Celtic branches is the Goidelic branches are Gaelic and Gaelic. Welsh, at least Welsh, and I think Pict were Brythonic. Fucking don't remember what Manx is. But Goidelic is Scottish and Irish in terms of their Celtic languages. There's Scots, which is Germanic, and I don't know if they remember if there's any other languages because like the there's the the reason I know there's a Germanic format of a Scottish type language is because there's a Germanic influenced language called Scots that's actually spoken in various places in the U.S. I think it's the Celts. I think we're in the Highlands, and I think the Lowlands are the ones that are the Germanic influenced ones, which aren't just German, like Holy Roman Empire German. I mean, like they're also like because Vikings, but also again Vikings because Celtic because Vikings would have also brought over more Celtic information after the Celts had already spread their information because Vikings are Scandinavian.
According to this, Celtic is a broad umbrella term for a group of cultures and languages, including Irish, Scottish, Gaelic, Welsh, and Breton.
Oh, Breton is still spoken, which would have. So believe it or not, parts of France, believe it or not, were originally had Celtic languages because Vikings, Normandy,
While
Brittany.
while Gael yeah, while Gaelic refers to specifically the Goidelic branch of Celtic languages, Irish, Scottish, Gaelic, and Manx, all Gaelic speakers are Celtic, but not all Celtic speakers are Gaelic,
Right, exactly. Because there's different branches.
which
The
is why I say when I think of dragons, I don't necessarily think of Celtic overall. I think specifically of Gaelic.
But I would actually argue no, except for the plausibility of Manx. So hold Manx on your Gaelic branch. So the Goidelic Gaelic and because Manx isn't Gaelic. Gaelic is only Scottish and Irish Gaelic. Yes, I realize that one's Gaelic and one's Gaelic. Let's not argue that in the comments. I get it. Scots, Irish, I get it. Just no arguing that in the comments. Manx is of the Goidelic branch. Welsh is of the Brythonic branch. It's the Celtic Isles of sorts, fucking Wales. I'm really getting the village. Sorry, nobody's gonna get that reference. And no, it's not the I'm only gay Eskimo. It's there's a God, I can't remember what show that was. It was the same Little Britain. That's what it was. Because I think it was supposed to be like I'm the only gay in the village was from a little tiny village in Wales. Yeah, I'm the only gay I'm the only gay in the little village in Wales. Because it was like it's the same show as Computer Says Now. Anyways, Wales flag. Look it up.
Mm.
Also, the Scots and the fucking unicorns.
Anyhow.
No, I'm not kidding you. Look up the Wales flag. Because you're talking about you're talking about Dravania. Look up the Wales flag.
Yeah, it's got a massive fucking dragon on it.
Yeah. So, educationally here, what part of the branches is Welsh on?
Technically it's classified under Gaelic.
No, it's not.
The Goidelic.
No, it's not. Welsh is Brythonic.
At least language-wise, it's
No,
Goidelic.
it is not Goidelic. It is Brythonic.
Never heard of that one. So I wouldn't have known.
Where are you getting your information from? Did you ask in Wikipedia?
Google search.
Don't use
like
AI.
second or third page.
No, you need to actually look up the actual academic information. You're fighting me on something that's Google search page 3. The only reason I know this information is the vested interest in the nerdity side of it. Not because I took linguistics in college once and fell asleep through half of it. Just like I fell asleep through Comp 103 and God, I hated it. No wonder I failed the exam. They fucking asked me programming questions that were barely in the fucking notes, and I was like, what? Oh, I paid attention to the shit in the other classes. I passed on my fucking practicals, but not my theory shit. Don't give me programming shit in a class that didn't seem to have Don't ask me math. Anyways, no.
Well, either way, fucking dragons and Celtic in some capacity go together.
Yeah. But you can't call it Goidelic because but the only reason that Scots is classified under Goidelic is you have to look at the map and see where Scott is like they intermingle. They're family, that. And Manx is somewhere in between. They fight over each other. You're right on the Celtic influence. I just like you tend to go, oh, I think Irish, and I'm like, there might be dragons in Irish mythology, but I don't. Do they just say they're off to bed?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, we'll wrap up in a minute then.
When I think dragons, I don't necessarily think Irish very often. I mean, I'm sure there's dragons in Irish mythology somewhere, but
tend to think
more often I think like fucking Scottish, Welsh.
Well, it's interesting because you go back to Shadowbringers, and it's one of the reasons why it tipped me on my head that I didn't realize how intertwined the mythology is. There is separate Scottish side mythology later on in the Celtic mythology of those areas because they are family of sorts in the culture. Because technically the Scots will tell you the Mad Sweeney story is also theirs. Cat she is shared, but Faol's background and influence is not the same thing as the Irish Fae.
No, I would assume she's more on the Scottish side.
She's literally more Scottish because she got a Scottish. It wasn't just, oh my god, she's got a Scottish
Well,
voice act. What?
it makes sense. I mean, they would have if she had Irish influence, they would have had an Irish actor.
That's where I was getting at, dork. But it's. I don't think it's just because that though. I mean, look, it's a Japanese game, but I think it is the fact that it is. If you look it up, it is the reference of the Fae culture that they have. Is more It's not that fairies aren't Irish. They aren't. It's not that they're not Celtic. It's that the split of what is what. Um, the Fae references and all that are in Shadowbringers are directly more Scotland than Ireland,
Mm.
and it starts to tie in sense also culturally from the timing it kind of they reference. Also, weird note: did you know that Ireland was not originally called Ireland?
I did not know that.
I don't know exactly, but there's sometimes if you hear the word Hiberno, I don't know what the total name is, or if that's its original name. But like sometimes they say like Hiberno Celtic or Hiberno Irish or whatever. I thought that was a fucking like Spanish word at
Uh,
first, but don't tell me you're looking it up.
Hibernia,
Yeah, yeah, whatever that is. I'm losing my brains now.
but
But
that's Latin, believe it or not.
oh god, no wonder I was like, is that Spanish or something?
Yeah, Hibernia is the Latin name.
Right. Which means that may not have been its original name because
No, it
let.
was. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it looks like it's Eriu.
Oh, oh my god. I I
I,
I
that makes sense. I've always been.
EIRE. That's what.
Originally, it was spelled with a U at the end, not an E. That's why I was confused.
Oh, that makes sense. I'm thinking of the more actual linguistic change later on
Yeah.
because
It,
a lot of times it's
originally it was Eriu.
okay. I'll have to look that up later. That's interesting. I'll be in bed looking that up later.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I probably could figure out the pronunciation slightly. There's a lot of Celtic words I can't pronounce until you actually tell me how to. Like I wouldn't have not known that. Like I do understand that. So I don't remember how to pronounce Daithi. Shut up, anybody in the headspace that doesn't like that name. Shut up right now. Anyways, but I do know that other spellings you have like you know the one that everybody thinks is Kaimi or whatever is Kiva, and I know that Siobhan is Siobhan,
Siobhan. Yeah. The only one that I know is fucking Siobhan.
which is interesting because I've seen people Anglish bastardize it from English. I hate seeing
The
it.
only reason
I
the
hate.
only reason I know the Irish version of Siobhan is because I dated someone named Siobhan.
I dated somebody named Maria,
Fair enough.
tall ass trans person. I don't like how everything went with the relationship, but because there was some toxic shit, but it was quite interesting.
Mm-hmm. But anyhow,
Why do you end up dating people that have references to your parents, anyways?
what?
Um, Maria, my mother's name is Mary. Robert, I had a ex boyfriend named Rob. My birth father's name is Robert.
Okay, that's a you thing, not a me thing?
I don't have anybody in the
I
family named fucking dipshit.
I've never dated anybody who had the same name as any family member, so that's a you thing.
Well, it's also because of my end of the generation. Like, you gotta understand, like, there's not many people in my end of the generation with my birthday. My mother went really far off the wild spectrum. My dad was like, "You can't spell it that way. They're gonna call it from Gilligan's Island."
Anyway,
Okay, anyways, I have some fun
well,
heavy editing.
yeah,
Asians. Yes, yes.
Asians, and then just put up my Asians meme picture.
What is your Asian name? Yes, yes, bitch. I am here, bitch. Welcome me, bitch. Clip me, bitch. Fight me, bitch. Yes, I keep saying stupid shit just to make sure I can clip myself to maybe end up in somebody's Discord. I am somewhat important. I am 40 something going on 12.
Some
Blech.
days I wonder about you.
I've been thundered. Can't you tell? Oh god. I'm clipping that word. I'm putting in cursor. I'm thundered. Can't you tell? Would you tag me in? We'll put that up later. It's aliens. That's why I'm so thundered. It's all Emmett Stuck's father thundered.
Let's close out the recording, eh?
I got the tism. I got the tism. It's Emmett Stuck's fault.
This has been fun.
No, we should
We're
also
absolutely losing
we
our
should also
mind.
reference the fact that we have seen the final days because Denmo's Tomodachi life. Varisha.
Huh?
Way to go, Hitler, for getting pregnant in the game. But according to Nerdasm over here, it shouldn't have been Varus, it should have been Lucius. Hey, Lucy!
Oh, God. I should never have told you that fucking Solus's son was named Lucius. He had 3 kids, by the way.
I was making a reference earlier to fucking Harry Potter. This time I was just doing a stupid
Anyway, this has been a lot of fun. I enjoyed the flow. And it was good to just kind of word vomit out the ideas and the thoughts on the lore.
Now, if we ever get me to edit it, because now I'm gonna have to remember that it's like near the half-hour point to fucking edit the shit out about the doxing and all that shit. Dox me, myself. Dox me. Yes, yes.
All right.
Okay. Yeah,
This has been fun.
Yeah. We should cover this with lots of rave ass music and do a rave or something like. Next time we'll actually sit in the house and do this in the game, and we'll have a
Oh,
list.
absolutely. Yeah. But this has been fun. I enjoyed it.
Do your homework, bitches. And I will do mine and add stuff to the end of the video, or not at the end of
Awesome.
the sources and the.
You will add
mental
things to the description.
Mental health issues. Because I gotta go to bed soon anyways, because I gotta get up and walk the fucking dog. And then I'm gonna shower in the morning.
But
I got so much bug working to do tomorrow.
this has been fun. Thank you so much for suggesting recording.
I didn't suggest that. I demanded I open. No, I'm not kidding. I suggested. I asked you quietly. Did you want me to open OBS? Asians.
Asians.
let's become polyfragmented and unite. Let's become no longer. Okay, no, I'm not gonna go there. That's a reference to something medically I don't want. No, I was gonna make a
Let's
joke
just
about. I was gonna make a
let's
joke
just
about uniting the stars, and I was like, no, that's gonna be integration. That's not a good idea to talk about in video. Asians.
yeah, Asians.